the fire truck was barreling down on me. I thought if I ignored it, it would go away, but I couldn't help myself. I looked back, and there it was, right behind me. So I just turned around, and I kept on running. For you see, I was at one of those small town festivals in the town next to the one that I grew up in central Minnesota. Dassel Red Rooster Days, home of the Midwest's largest chicken barbecue. But the chicken would have to wait because I was in the middle of the Dassel Red Rooster 5-mile fun run. Now I know what you're thinking, running isn't fun, and I certainly wasn't having fun that day. In fact, I was mad. I should have been mad that I was completely out of shape. I hadn't done near enough running that summer in order to train for this race. I should have been mad that I was completely overweight. Too many visits from the pizza delivery man had caused the scale to go way too far in the wrong direction. But I wasn't mad at either of those two things. I was mad at that fire truck. All of these races have a safety vehicle at the end of the race to control traffic and to make sure that all of the runners are safe. But because the fire truck was directly behind me, that meant that I was in last place. And I hated being in last place. I've always been a competitive person. I'm generally not very emotional, but the few times that I can remember crying when I was a kid were when I had lost. There was the elementary school track and field day where I didn't win any awards, and I had to be escorted out of the auditorium because I was crying too loud. There was the middle school basketball game where I was getting a ride home from my dad, and I was just bawling my eyes out in the car because our team had just lost its first game. I really hate losing, and I really hated being in last place. Now, there's a lot of things that go through your mind when you're in last place. Why am I even here? This is a waste of my time. Being in last place is being the ultimate loser. If I'm a loser in this, who says I'm not a loser in other parts of my life? Am I a loser in my job? Am I going to lose my job? Am I going to have to move in with my parents? I don't want to have to move in with my parents. Losers don't attract women. Am I ever going to get a girlfriend? Am I going to die penniless and alone? I would do anything to not be a loser. All of a sudden, the clouds opened up over Dassel, and a big sunbeam came down, and it shone onto a woman a couple blocks in front of me. But this wasn't just any woman. This was the woman in second to last place. It's almost as if the running gods were telling me, Tony, if you run a little bit faster, you can catch up with her. Tony, you will not be a loser today. And that is when I started sprinting. My arms flailed back and forth as I attempted to go faster. My feet dug into the hot pavement of the streets. Every step that I took a larger breath in order to try and get more oxygen to my aching muscles. Every step I took was more painful, but I had to run faster in order to catch up with her. I am running through the tree-lined streets of Dassel, the smell of chicken barbecue in the air, tens of people lining the streets cheering. But I cannot hear any of them because I am solely focused on the woman in second to last place. 4 blocks to go, I have cut the gap in half. 2 blocks to go, she is only 20 feet ahead of me. 1 block to go, only a single leap, and I will be able to catch her. With 10 feet before the finish line, I sprint by my unsuspecting foe, only catching through the corner of my eye the very confused look of a woman who does not know what just happened to her. I cross the finish line, and I am a winner. I am in second to last place. I am completely exhausted walking around the finish line. I still have a lot of time to kill before the chicken barbecue starts, so I decide to go over to the results poster. And I scroll all the way down to the second to the last line, and I see my name. Tony Dahlman, 58 minutes, 28 seconds, male, age 28. But all of a sudden, something catches my eye in the line underneath mine. Diane Anderson, 58 minutes, 30 seconds, female, age 62. 62 years old? I just sprinted 6 blocks to catch a 62-year-old woman? This woman is a decade older than me. I nearly had a stroke to catch a senior citizen. All of a sudden, my win did not seem much like a victory at all. I did some serious thinking about what winning and losing meant that day. And while I didn't realize it at the time, and while I am still way too competitive of a person, I learned a valuable lesson that day. Winning and losing isn't about who you beat. Winning and losing is about the changes you make in your life. And I made some major modifications in my life, in my diet, and in my physical activity. And in the end, I am a loser. I ended up losing my relationship with the pizza delivery man. I ended up losing several minutes off my race time. And I ended up losing over 100 pounds, and I'm now in the greatest shape of my life. In the end, I'm also a winner. I've won the opportunity to work really hard at my job. I've won companionship with my very supportive wife who puts up with me. But ultimately, I'm a winner because I am no longer getting chased by that damn fire truck.